Thank you so much, Pastor Flowers, for having me. Thank you, congregation, for inviting me and allowing me to share these precious moments with you. Um, I'm normally one of those individuals that love to shoot from the hip and write from the heart. So when the pastor commissioned me last week to be prepared to give something today, I spent the last 7 days writing and rewriting something in my head. I think I should say this. I think I should say that. So I'm going to try to not be confusing, and try to hit straightly to the point. We got a lot of ground to cover, and I sometimes pride myself for being long-winded, and I will try to not be there.
Try hard.
I will try hard and even harder. One thing that was on my mind that I wanted to address, because when we first came in, we were talking about the health, and you brought up some excellent points about the longevity of our lifespans based on the things that we eat. And no truer words were ever spoken. We as black people, I love our people. We're just like number one in everything.
That's right.
I mean, we're number one in basketball. We can do things with a basketball that the people that invented the ball never thought possible.
That's right.
We produced the Allen Iversons and the Michael Jordans and the Magic Johnsons. We put on a pair of boxing gloves and just produced a Muhammad Ali and a Joe Frazier and and all of these guys that just did something. And we got Floyd Mayweather. Nobody knows. They're gonna have to shoot him or something, because nobody knows when he'll ever be defeated. So we're number one in so many things. They gave us a pair of skis, and we done learned how to fall down hills better than everybody. We're just such an awesome people. Serena and Venus Williams, number one, whatever we touch.
Right.
And they will have us believe that we're just physical. That's just physical. But no, we've actually produced a George Washington Carver who, spoke to the peanuts and let the peanuts speak back to him, and developed over 365 uses for one little peanut.
Right.
We produced the Adam Clayton Powells of the world, the Marcus Garveys, the Malcolm X's. We produce scientists. The list that you have of inventors, I can trump that at any moment, with the book that I have that's this thick on patents that black people have in America, from the gas mask to the stoplight, and those are only the few things we hear about during Black History Month. If you only knew who you were, it would scare you. But sadly to announce, to your point, Pastor, we're also number one in cancer.
That's right.
We're also number one in diabetes and strokes and heart disease and kidney failure. We're number one in a lot of the wrong things, because I heard someone say, well, during slavery time they gave us the worst part of the pig. Absolutely. And a lot of the things that we eat, a lot of the things that we consume, it clogs our arteries. It gives us high blood pressure, and so it gives us the kidney failure. The alcohol we consume goes right to the liver, and delivering it the 1-2 punch. The cigarettes we smoke goes straight to the lungs to destroy. And so we find ourselves in the predicament that we are. So a lot that we eat, eat means to accept without question. And so we have eaten the artificial colors, the artificial flavors. One thing that struck me in the book of Genesis, when we were watching the creation process, everything that God created, he turned around and said, and it was good. And it was good. And I gave them the seeds of the earth and the trees and the things that produce after its own kind. And it was good. And when the serpent approached man and gave him a poisonous doctrine, then all of a sudden she ate of the fruit and said, and it was good to the eye. It just looked good. So that right there was the invention of artificial color.
That's right.
Artificial flavor, an imitation of life, something that you should not have had, but because it smells good. And when you go to these grocery stores, that's all they're concerned about is how I'll put this drug or this chemical into your bread.
Amen.
Formaldehyde, the same thing that they
Amen.
preserve your body with, they put that in your bread so that it can last on the shelf longer.
Amen.
What is that doing to your body? You know, they put the artificial flavors, you know, and the artificial flavor could be anything. I'll take some bleach and ammonia and mix it with some turpentine, and if it tastes like cherry, it tastes like cherry. Mm-hmm. That's the end result. That's all they're concerned about is the dollar, so we destroy ourselves because something is good to the eye or good to the nose or good to the tongue or good, but it doesn't mean that it's good.
That's right.
There's a difference between a man that looks good and a good man.
That's right. Amen.
There's a difference between a woman who looks good, that's a good-looking woman, and a good woman. Mm-hmm. Two different things, two different conversations. So I admonish us all to become more sensitive to that. These are holy temples. The God of creation, he's not a joker. You know, he didn't create us in vain. There was a reason, a purpose for us put on this planet. You know, the things that kind of like when you're playing chess, and I got this pawn, I got a rook, I got a bishop, I got a knight, I got a king, I got a queen, and all of them have a purpose. This is supposed to do that, this is supposed to do that, but if the pawn deviates and want to do his own thing and allows the opposition to tell him, nah, you should go this way, we in trouble. You know, so with that being said, there's many things, and one of the things that we intend to produce, we already have a storefront down on Franklin Avenue, and we're going to call it the Breath of Life, and we're going to have these kind of things, information and products to help restore health.
Amen.
Your diabetes, your high blood pressure. Did you know that it can be resolved in 30 days? Just from when you wake up, before you brush your teeth, before you taste anything, drink 4 glasses of water, and don't do anything else for 2 hours. Don't eat anything else. Don't put anything in your mouth. Do that every day. 4 glasses of water immediately when you wake up, and watch the difference in 30 days. Watch how many less pills you'll be taking. In 30 days, you'll reverse so many things. High blood pressure can be resolved, turned around inside of 2 or 3 months with just organic apple cider vinegar. There's so many things that's right there. See, God is an awesome God. He's an awesome creator because he did not create us without giving us the things that we would need to sustain ourselves. But so long as you think that the healing process has to come out of a bottle, then you play yourself and we play ourselves.
That's right.
So I wanted to get into that was just a sidebar because that's where we walked in. One of the things that was on my heart and I had contemplated and thought about all week, I love to watch movies, and whenever I'm watching movies, I like to, I'm not a racist at all, but I love my people. Mm-hmm. Some white guy told me, one of my former employers said, Israel, you're such a gentleman. I really like you. I don't sense that there's any racism in you at all. I said, I'm not racist at all. I love black people. I'm really into my people, and I always try to figure out a best way to, I call myself somewhat of a spiritual firefighter. When a building is on fire and there's helpless men, women, and babies in the house, sometimes you have to put on the outfit and you have to go into the burning house in order to be able to pull them out. So don't be surprised if you driving through Aliquippa and you see me on the street with the thugs on the corner and I'm sitting there. Just like right now, the thugs would probably be surprised when they drive by and see me sitting with the church folk. See, we have to be able to adapt and speak the language if we are truly about the business of redemption and salvation for our people. And last time I read the memo, nobody was really looking to help us the way that we need to help ourselves.
Right.
So I took it upon myself somewhat to do what I can to dedicate my life to helping my people. And one of the ways I do that is I watch movies so that I could explain reality in a basic way that they could understand. The same way that Aesop did. Aesop was a black man who would give morals and stories, and he probably was a scholar of the Bible, but he took the biblical stories and he put them in a way that even children could understand. The Bible says the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to he that endureth to the end. Aesop said, well, let me tell you a story about a rabbit and a turtle that ran the race, and the rabbit was so fast, and he was so fast that he took his talent for granted. And he relaxed when he shouldn't have been relaxing. The turtle, known for being slow, one of the slowest creatures in the world, but he was consistent. He plodded along, and he didn't take his little talent for granted. And by the time the rabbit looked up from his slumber and relaxation and the things that he had taken for granted, the turtle had inched across the finish line. Right. Well, that's the same thing the Bible said. Yeah. See, Aesop just read the Bible and he knew, let me give you a jewel. Sometimes you are the only Bible the people will ever read.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so true.
Sometimes you are the only Jesus the people will ever know. They're not going to listen to what this pastor has to say and what this pastor has to say, but they love Brother Paul. That brother sings so good, so whatever Paul has to say, I'm going to listen to him. So it's indicative to Brother Paul to be a reflection, an embodiment, a moon to the sun. The sun is 93 million miles away from the earth, and sometimes the earth is 24,896 miles and the circumference. So the sun can't always shine everywhere, being 93 million miles away. It can't always shine on every part of a globe at the same time. So God in his infinite wisdom gave us a moon, little satellite, so you can look up and remember that it's there. So sometimes we have to be the moon to that sun. That's all I'm saying. So we have to figure out ways to be able to communicate to our people. And I look in movies and I see different things. And one of the movies, Lion King. See, because not only am I here to introduce myself to you, I have to introduce yourself to you too. Because we've been asleep for so long as a city, and we have to admit that the condition of our people and the condition of us, the condition of my body, I used to be able to lift 300 pounds or whatever. I don't lift 300 no more because I have not applied myself.
Right.
And whatever condition my physical body is in is the end result of my applied knowledge. Whatever I apply. So when I look at the condition of us in Aliquippa, whatever condition we are in is the end result of our applied knowledge. No matter what we believe, if we applied it or we did not apply it, it has compensated us with the condition that we now see ourselves in. So, in understanding who we are, we are admonished to look in scriptures and different things, and I challenge folks to, when we look in the Bible and we read scriptures, we read about Adam, we read about Abraham, Moses, Jacob, all of these great men and women, but we don't see ourselves in the equation. So because we haven't seen ourselves, the Bible has somewhat, in all of our honesty, we have to admit the Bible has been somewhat of a novel to us. Because a novel is you're reading about Becky loving Jim and Becky loving this person and whatever, and you get caught up in the romantic story, but at the end of the day you can close it and you live your life because it had no relevancy to you outside of the immediate emotional refreshment of you being caught up in that story at that time. So we may get caught up in the story of Abraham or caught up in the story of Job. But if we don't see ourselves as Abraham or as Job, see, when you start doing that, then it's a different kind of feeling. Because now you are thoroughly involved. There was a movie called The Never Ending Story, and the little boy goes through the library and he finds this book that's just so engaging. And the movie is about 2 hours long, and for 2 hours he's reading about all of these adventures and everything. But then at the end of the book, when the world is getting ready to end, the characters in the story start calling his name. It was like, call our name, Joe, it's you, and he's like, what, me? Me? So he didn't know that he was the starring character in the story. So the beauty of these scriptures is it's all about you. It's the retelling and the telling of the story. See, nobody would ever believe that a real rabbit ran a race with a real turtle. That's not even up for debate whether that happened or not. It didn't happen. And neither will we call our brother Aesop a liar for trying to make us believe that it happened, because that's not what his purpose was. Well, the inspired prophets of God, they did the same thing. They told stories, but they didn't use rabbits and turtles. They used names. They used stories that you can apply to your life. And without me going too deep, I can show and prove what I'm saying. If I need a real good reader, if somebody could go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 for me. I heard what it sounds like when everybody read together, so we're just going to pick one person. we'll get through it.
Yeah, what verse?
We're gonna start with verse 15. See, because in Deuteronomy 28, all the way up to verse 15, it says some real beautiful things. All of the blessings that whoever this people is. See, because we were taught that we didn't come around into the curse of Ham and all of that stuff. That's what we had been taught. But I'm here to help you get your African mind back. Mm-hmm. And so in order to do that, we're going to walk through. Let's look at the condition of, I want everybody to picture the condition of Aliquippa right now as it exists. And we're going to weigh it against Deuteronomy. And we're going to walk from 15 down. But let's go.
28, what?
15.
28 and 15.
You want to read it?
So, Sister Mason is up.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments.
Okay, hold on. It's all right. When we don't hearken to the voice of the Lord, whether it's external voice or internal voice, the God within us, if we don't hearken to that voice and do all of the commandments, eat the right things, pray the right way, do all of the things that our Lord commanded us to do, what's going to happen to us?
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Let's go for a ride. Well, let's start.
Cursed shall thou be in the city.
Cursed shall thou be in the city.
And cursed shall thou be in the field.
And cursed shall thou be in the field. Hold on. Aliquippa used to be thriving, right? We had J&L Steel Mills. There was downtown. There was door-to-door businesses, right. Movie theaters, restaurants, grocery stores, supermarkets, everything, right?
That's right.
Cursed shall thou be in the field. My grandfather on Liberty Avenue had 2 gardens, real big gardens. Sometimes it produced so much food he would tell us to come up there with salt shakers and stuff and just eat the tomatoes out. There was just too much. Okay, let's go.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Where's our stores now?
Gone.
They're gone. All of them. What we got down there? A probation office? A drugstore? You know what drugstores are? That's for sick people.
That's right.
They might got some potato chips and stuff and some soda pops in there because they want you to be sick, to remain sick. So 2 for 1. Okay.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. That's your children. Whatever you produce. Physically, that's your children. Mm-hmm. Spiritually, mentally, socially, economically, fruit is anything that comes from you that's supposed to help propel you and your people to another level. And where are we? Okay.
and the fruit of thy land.
And the fruit of thy land. My grandfather's garden is full of junk cars, and I don't remember anybody planting junk car seeds, but somehow or another the garden has grown junk cars. They're all over the place, and I can't eat none of them.
That's true.
And they said that the oil has corrupted the soil so much, and all of the soot from J&L steel mill, all of that smog has destroyed the top surface of the ground so much that you would have to dig almost 6 feet.
That's right.
And replace that with new earth.
That's right.
That's a curse.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
The increase of thy kind.
The increase of that kind. That means that anything that comes after you, anything that you produce, your children, you know, they're born, but they're going straight to the penal system. They now call prison the prison industrial complex. It's a business. Did you know Michael Jordan invests in prisons? Prisons are on the stock market now. If you want to get rich, you can buy shares in private prisons, and those who build the prisons, they enter contracts with the United States government that you have to give us a certain amount of prisoners every year. It's a trap that our people are falling into.
Say that again now.
The prison industrial complex. The private prison industries.
Okay.
When they build their prisons, they get contracts with the local and federal government to give them a certain amount of prisoners every year. Now, like you said, Reverend, write it down. Don't take my word for anything. And I'm available. I'll give you my phone number. We can go to the library. We can go check it on websites. We can chop it up. All of my stuff is still in storage. I have not unpacked my life yet.
So you're saying that that the reason why there's so many blacks in prison is because they have to keep a quota?
They have to keep a quota. They have to.
That's what I read.
That's one of the reasons. The other reason is we keep doing dumb stuff.
Oh yeah. Well,
the other reason is Deuteronomy 28. We failed to hearken.
I can see that now.
Yes, sir.
Free labor. Cheap labor.
Yes, sir.
I can see that now. I can see it.
Okay, let's go, because we got a lot of it, and
Well, you're gonna have to.
I'm gonna abbreviate. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
but you're gonna have to be to be continued.
Okay. As of now, or I got a couple more minutes?
Well, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
And the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall be the flocks of thy sheep.
Yes.
Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out.
You're born in cursing. You die in a particular situation. Man.
The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation.
Vexation is confusion and rebuke.
In all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do.
In just a few things, or in all?
It said, in all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do. Until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
Wow.
The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee.
Diseases. Pestilence is nothing but diseases. Until when?
Have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever.
Well, let's deal. If we could deal with consumption. See, black people in America, they said if black people were to come together and pull all of our resources, we would be like the 8th richest country on the planet. We would be the 8th largest nation on the planet. We have billions. We spent $3 billion just on chewing gum. So let's not talk about our cigarettes. And that we are the world's greatest consumers. See, everybody from Italy, from Japan, from China, these nations come to us. Just how right over there on the boulevard they had the Chinese buffet. You know, You will never go to Chinatown. I've been all over the country. You will never go to Chinatown and see Daryl's Smoky Ribs. They're not going to let you set up business the way they come and sit. So we have Italian. We have Polak restaurants. We run to Yanni's. We give them money. We run to this place. We give them money. None of them will support us. How many of them go down to Green Street on the corner where the young family is just flipping ribs and chicken and just trying to make some money? They won't support us. Yes, ma'am.
Where am I? Until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness. I read that. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. I read that. The Lord, look at verse 22. I don't think I've read that. The Lord shall smite thee with the consumption.
Right. Make you consume.
And with a fever, and with an inflammation.
Right.
And with an extreme burning. And with the sword.
Yes.
And with blasting. And with mildew. And they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
How many houses were victims of the flood, and now your basements are full of mildew and that? It's all there. But for the sake of time, let's just go to 2868, because something that happened there that's real significant to me.
2868.
Verse 68. What's verse 68?
Go ahead.
We fast forward. I would love to chop into each verse, but let's just fast forward to verse 68.
Okay, 68. That's the last one.
Yes.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Okay, see, there's two significant keys right there. One is again. See, because everybody will say, well, they're talking about the children of Israel, and that them came and went and whatever. Egypt, they played a game on us. Egypt only means bondage, servitude. When the Greeks and Romans made their way into Africa, they called the land that we now call Ethiopia. They named it that because they were making fun of us. They called that the land. Ethiopia means land of the burnt faces. They're talking about black people. Egypt, before it was called, it was Mizraim.
Yeah.
And they changed it to Egypt, which is a Greek name, and it only means bondage. So when it says, so now let's take the name Egypt out and let's put bondage back in there, and I will bring thee into bondage again. How?
With ships.
With ships. See, if you read the story of Genesis on how the Israelites got into Israel, they didn't get on ships to get into Israel. They didn't use ships to get there, and they didn't use ships to get back. Moses split the sea, and they walked through to get back. When there was a famine in all of the land, Joseph had rose up in ranks with Pharaoh according to Genesis, and Pharaoh told Joseph to call his brothers and his father and tell them, and they said in 2 weeks they walked into Egypt. But this people, they're suffering now. They went into bondage by ships. Can you think of anybody who may have went into slavery on ships?
Oh yeah.
Anybody?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So, as I said, I would love to. It's just so tasty. It's delicious. I'm feeling. I just really want to get into that Deuteronomy, because that's who we are. And until we know who we are, then we're not playing the game the right way. I'm big into hip-hop, and Chuck D said, in a game a fool without the rules. That's us. We just don't know our position. We look in the scriptures, and when it says Abraham, we see a white face. When it says Jesus, we see a white face. When it see, so I'm just here to help you get your black African mind back, so that when you read Genesis, Revelations, and it talks about having feet like brass burnt in an oven, you understand that means you're darker than Brother Paul. And when it says your hair like lamb's wool, you know that's nappy hair. You know what I'm saying? So we're here to give you your black mind back. You know, and it's not about race; it's about truth. Right. And when I heard that Jesus Christ was the Spirit of truth, that's what I heard. It's a rumor. You know, that's what I heard. And if it is, in fact, more than a rumor, if it is truth, that he come to bring the Spirit of truth, and he come to bring life that you may have in more abundance, that means that, you know, if we bring that down to practical terms, That means that he's going to tell you that there's something wrong with your diet. We got to start there. You know, there's something wrong with your education. When it told the sluggard to go to the ant, study his ways, and be wise, you know, the ant does not take his babies to spiders to get educated.
That's right.
You know, he don't take them to the grasshoppers. He takes care of those babies, but we've been giving our babies over to another people who has turned these educational institutions into nothing more than manufacturing plants for robots and slaves. So we have to get our God mind back.
Right.
We have to take it upon ourselves to educate our babies. We have to take it upon ourselves to put godly food back on the table. You know, this whole Monsanto and the GMOs, genetically modified organisms that are not even fruit. Kentucky Fried Chicken, they call KFC now because that's not chicken anymore. You know, so what are we eating? Whatever we're eating, Elijah Muhammad once said, we are killing ourselves. We're digging our own graves with our forks and spoons. So, with that being said, maybe one day I'll come back again and we'll finish it, you know, here or another platform, and we can just get to it. I love my people. I dedicate my life to the service of my Creator and my people. Nothing I wouldn't do, and everything I will do for my people. Thank you so much.
Amen. You're welcome back.
Whenever you have me.
Okay. I'll put it up to God. But what you said is so true. Because what you said